Senator Cruz, thank you for being with us. I appreciate it. Talk about the general. What's your strategy moving forward when many people say Congressman O'Rourke might be the best Senate candidate from Texas on the Democratic side in years?
Congressman O'Rourke is a Bernie Sanders liberal. He wants to see high taxes, high regulations, and get back to the economic stagnation of the Obama years. And those, quite simply, are not the values, I believe, of most Texans.
Seems like moderate Republicans have never been so disenchanted with the party.
Well, tonight we've seen a tremendous victory in my race across the board, winning conservative Republicans and moderate Republicans, winning a tremendously far-reaching and widespread victory among primary voters. And I think that's indicative of Texans, and this is true of Republicans, but this is true of independents. This is even true of some Democrats. A lot of Texans recognize if Democrats are going to be competitive statewide, running a far-left liberal is not the path. Because listen, in Texas, there are more conservatives than there are liberals. I'll give you one very simple example. A week or two ago, Congressman O'Rourke tweeted out to the world how proud he was that he has an F from the NRA. Not a D minus, not a D, an F, the worst possible rating. You know what? I happily retweeted him. I said, look, there's a choice. If you're a Texan who wants a senator who opposes your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, who is an original sponsor, as Congressman O'Rourke is, of legislation in the House to ban a substantial percentage of the semi-automatic firearms in America, well, you've got your choice. But most Texans, I think, want our rights protected. Those are values that are immensely popular in the newsroom of the New York Times, but they're not where the people of Texas are.
You yourself have said that Democrats would walk over broken glass to get to the polls in November.
Yeah.
How crucial is it that you're appealing to that side of the aisle as well?
There's no doubt that we're in a volatile political time. And the extreme left, they're energized, they're angry, and they hate the president. And we're seeing that manifesting in turnout tonight in the elections, but we're also seeing that manifesting in fundraising, where Democrats all over the country are raising a lot of money from the extreme left. What that means is that in November it is critical that conservatives show up. In Texas, look, Texas is not Massachusetts. There are a lot more conservatives in Texas than there are liberals. Now, the danger for the state is if conservatives are complacent, if conservatives stay home, and we let Texas turn blue, that would do enormous damage to the state. There's a reason 1,000 people a day move to Texas. Texas is where the jobs are. We understand low taxes, low regulations. Let small businesses flourish, raise wages, expand investment, expand opportunity. All of that could be lost if Texas elects far-left liberal Democrats. But the good news is I don't believe that's going to happen. I think conservatives are going to show up in November. And as for my part, I'm going to do everything I can to energize and encourage conservatives to show up to keep winning the victories we're seeing at a national policy level.
Republicans have got to be thinking, though, if O'Rourke even gets close to winning, but still loses, he's still going to energize possibly thousands of Democratic voters to come to the polls when they didn't before. Are we talking about a swing state maybe in 2020?
The dream of a big blue wave moving Texas has been a dream of Democratic activists. It's been a dream of the media for a long time. We've already seen a bunch of breathless national media stories praising Congressman O'Rourke. Why? Because he's the sort of congressman that would be a really formidable candidate in Massachusetts. He'd be a really formidable candidate in a bright blue Democratic state. But this ain't Massachusetts. This is Texas. And every comment he makes that makes liberal reporters' hearts go aflutter is a comment distancing himself from the common sense values of Texas. Texas is a place where we want low taxes, low regulation, and we want our freedoms protected. We want our rights protected. Texans believe in freedom, and that's really what I've tried to do in the Senate every day, is honor the promises I made to the men and women of Texas, work for the men and women of Texas every day to defend jobs, defend our free market system, and defend the Constitution and Bill of Rights.
Speaking of 2020, is that on your radar right now?
My focus is on being reelected to the U.S. Senate, on representing Texas in the Senate. And listen, obviously in 2016, I ran for president. We came very, very close. We came in second. won 12 states. We had 326,000 volunteers nationwide. We had 1.8 million contributions nationwide at tedcruz.org, where people went online, supported the campaign. That was gratifying. We didn't win. We didn't win. President Trump won. And so my focus now has been in the Senate, fighting for the very same values we were fighting for in the presidential race, fighting for jobs and economic growth, fighting to lower taxes, lower regulations, let small businesses grow, and also fighting every day to defend the Constitution and Bill of Rights. That's what we were doing in the presidential race. It's what I'm doing in the Senate. And I got to say I'm gratified because we're winning big victories in the Senate. We are delivering on promises, whether it was historic tax reform, tax cuts that doubled the child tax credit for every parent in Texas. That's a big, big victory. Repealing the Obamacare individual mandate, which I led the fight for, that's a big, big victory to the 6.5 million Americans getting fined by the IRS because they can't afford health insurance. Or whether it was expanding college 529 savings plans, the most far-reaching federal school choice legislation in history. I introduced it. It passed on the Senate floor and passed into law, benefiting up to 50 million school kids nationwide. We're producing results, and I'm really encouraged by that.
Senator, thank you for being with us.